Welcome to the Creative Playing Podcast Network. Join us as we share our favorite RPGs, one-shot games, tabletop games, reviews of items, and convention panels, and other exciting things that we run into from time to time. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Kelly, aka Trixie from Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion to Ragnarok story, and Tilda Wimblewick from D&D Journey of the 5th Edition. First off, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for listening to our varied adventures, as well as for rating us on iTunes and RPGpodcast.com. If you haven't rated us yet, we would greatly appreciate it if you could. And if you're looking for more ways to support our efforts, we are now on Patreon, a great site where you can help us continue making more podcasts, as well as some special surprises for our patrons. If you can, please look us up at www.patreon.com/cppn. Every little bit helps. And again, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, Jim and Kelly here with Creative Playing Podcast Network, bringing to you #RPGADAY2020 for August the 2nd. And Kelly,
Howdy.
The word of the day?
The word of the day for August 2nd is change. Now, for me, I tend to go at first, literal. I tend to think literal. So my first thought when I saw change was Changling. Yeah, because this is, I only just started playing this Changeling. So it's like I had never really played a character who could just completely alter everything about themselves instantly. So not only do they, they can change their race, their species, their gender, their everything. They can change their personalities. They can change their, every little bit about them. So that took a little bit of, changing the way I think because I'm not used to that. It's like, so I get my character and I have set. So to help me, I actually have cheat sheets of all the main personas, because the changeling because they can change into another being, basically just instantaneously as an emotional reaction. But they actually can have personas, which are, these personas can have completely different religions, completely different everything about them. So to help me, I created 5 possible personas, like her main personas. I created a little cheat sheet so I could change between them, without, hopefully skipping much of a beat. So, even to the point where I change how they talk. Each of the characters will technically talk in a different way, either an accent or a manner. So that's a lot of fun.
And we appreciate that you have cue cards for us to let us know which persona you're in.
Yeah, and when we're gaming in person, I actually have little name cards and I can just flip them over. When we're playing on Roll20, I actually could change my picture, but then I have to go in and out of it. But I actually did a color coding system. I'll put a dot that shows which persona I'm in, and then on my bio tab where everybody can see, is the corresponding color and for that character. And it helps, previously that I had given each of the other players a cheat sheet on my personas. So, hopefully that helps keep it a little straight.
It definitely helps keep track of the changes of your changeling character.
Yeah. So that's what I thought of when I saw change. Of course, I tend to initially take things in a literal direction when looking at these. How about
me,
you?
I was going to go with something more of a meta level for RPGs and talk about addition, changes, and the good and the bad about them. Because we all know game companies, they have to make books and sell books to stay in business. So there is, from their point of view, a motivation to make new editions because basically it's reinventing the wheel and creating a new cash revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times when they make new editions, they honestly are trying to improve the game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's be honest, first edition was really rough. It was something that was come up in someone's garage. It was a little booklet. Second edition, or AD&D, is where they came out with a slew of new rules, so that way GMs across the world had set in stone rules, which, the whole Gygax quote about don't let them find out they don't need rules or don't need books, So we actually...
Yeah, that's when the books really started coming out, the Monster Manual and the Player's Handbook, which I loved.
And they
Oh my
really
God,
codified things. And then third edition is where they pretty much D&D found its rhythm, in my opinion, because third edition is like what the Pathfinder direction goes, and at least until they made a second edition and, changed their edition to a second edition. So, how that one goes. Everything evolves and grows. D&D had fourth edition, which I was a fan of, but a lot of folks don't like it because it changed the exact format of how D&D was played, even though it was still D&D. Because people felt it was a little video gamey. But funny thing about that change was there was a lot of things like at-will spells or cantrips that came over to the 5th edition change, which I actually love because, like we spoke about yesterday, it gives the casters stuff to keep doing. So that way you're not...
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Having a cantrip that you can fall back on that doesn't take all of your spell slots is unbelievably helpful.
It's amazing.
You don't feel useless.
Being able to cast that, create fire spell, to make a fire underneath somebody.
Vicious Mockery for
Vicious
bards.
Mockery.
The best spell ever.
Poison Spray, the deadliest of the cantrip spells.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everybody's favorite cleric spell that casts when it does hit.
Oh, yeah, Sacred Flame. That one's a pain because it goes up against dexterity, where Vicious Mockery goes up against charisma, and creatures are far less likely to have good charisma. And then, of course, there's Thorn Whip.
That's a good one,
for the druids.
Too.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That way you get to manipulate your enemy, which is always a good thing in combat.
And do damage at the same time. But Vicious Mockery I love, especially when so all my bards get it, because not only can you do it's only 1d4 psychic damage, but you are at disadvantage to the end of your next turn.
That can keep somebody alive if they're being attacked by something nasty. Especially if they have multi-attack and they have disadvantage on multiple attacks.
Hey, I have insulted somebody to death.
And hey, it's not just Dungeons & Dragons that does the edition changes, but also like Call of Cthulhu that's on its like 7th edition, I think. You've got Chill that's on its 5th edition. You've got Star Wars that's on its 3rd or 4th edition now, depending on the Roll20, the FOSSA, if fantasy...
Even
Scion is on its 2nd edition now. And it changed a lot.
Yeah, and then the White Wolf,
Vampire's gotten at least 3 editions. It's on a new edition now since a new company owns it, which I still got to check out the newest version of Vampire to see how it plays. I hope it plays better than the previous version because I didn't like some of the things that happened to baby vampires compared to the older versions because I could see that rule wiping out a group real quick.
Okay.
So one thing is when a new edition comes out, try to avoid the growing pain groans because, a lot of folks immediately when they hear new edition, they just hear the companies going cha-ching. But, and you don't have to change your editions. I mean, I've had gaming groups that have wanted to change editions. So we did the whole, let's update our 2nd edition characters to 3.5 or whatnot. But you don't have to change editions. That's also a thing, too. You can ignore change. So that's what I've got for changes is the, games change, they evolve. When you started playing games to now, you've changed and evolved as well. So why not try a new edition just in case you like it better? I mean, after all, 5th edition, Advantage. Who doesn't love that system?
Very, very good point.
And the inspiration.
I love the inspiration
rewarding
system.
Players for playing in character. And to reinforce that they should play in character, which is my favorite part. So that's going to cover us for August the 2nd. Change.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Play and Podcast Network, and feel free to enjoy our other shows such as D&D Journey of the 5th Edition and Scion Ragnarok and Roll, a Scion hero to Ragnarok story. Thank you for listening.